What's up, friends? I'm Jonathan Miller, and welcome back to Jonathan Miller Music, where we help each other become better artists. Kim Taeyeon is finally back with her fourth mini album, To.X, following the super successful invu in 2022 and a series of delays throughout 2023. Topping iTunes in 20 countries and selling over 68,000 copies on its first day at the time of this writing, Taeyeon is continuing her reign as one of SM Entertainment's most popular soloists. If you're new to the series, today we're going through To.X track by track, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on its productions, track listing, genres, and influences to see how it all breaks down and comes together. So like this video and subscribe if you want to see more K-pop reviews. Comment telling me your thoughts and what your favorite songs on the album are. I also just dropped a brand new single called The Story I've Waited to Tell, which is up now on all platforms. Streaming my music and following me on Spotify is another excellent way of supporting this channel so that I can keep more videos coming. The link is in the description to go check that out. But with that out of the way, here is my album review and genre deconstruction of Taeyeon's fifth mini album, To.X. There is no doubt that Taeyeon is a fantastic vocalist. That's not something she needs to prove. What I like about To.X is that a lot of her signature belts and stylings are actually placed more in the background, very atmospherically. Taeyeon excels within R&B. Her voice and overall style lend themselves beautifully to the genre, and To.X really highlights that. This is another banger Kenzie production, and it's just different enough for Taeyeon to feel new. Taeyeon is a seasoned pro who now has the freedom to explore different production techniques, concepts, and styles, which is part of what made invu what I think was one of the best songs of 2022. The beat of To.X is great. The melody's very top 40, and we get some cool gritty moments just before the chorus. Taeyeon's got some great pop tracks in her repertoire, but hearing her blend R&B with other styles and explore its depth without losing her pop sensibilities is nice. It keeps her modern and current. I think it would be easy to argue that this song is a little bit held back for her vocally, but again, I would counter that with she doesn't need to prove she's a vocalist at this point. Not every song does she need to belt, especially when the rest of the composition has all that power in the melody. I love Taeyeon's belting just as much as the next Soan, but I really do think To.X is great. Also, just Taeyeon kills a dark concept every single time. Plus, she's singing about realizing she was with a narcissist, so I give her instant points for lyrical growth and age-relevant style. Melt Away is super intriguing, not only within the context of this album, but also within the context of Taeyeon's discography at large. It's an R&B song, but it's got these like jazz and Latin pop influences that almost kind of makes me want to see someone dance the tango to this track. It's not over the top, and again, we get to hear Taeyeon use her voice in new ways, especially with that chorus. It's got an inconsistent but ballroom danceable beat. Some parts even feel like elevator music that's actually entertaining, but it never really goes one way or the other. You think it's gonna dip really far into its Latin influence and then it pulls back. You think it's gonna dive right into pop with its melody and then it pulls you right back into R&B. I didn't expect a Zara Larsson composition to be here, but I'm not complaining because Zara's a great artist and songwriter. But Taeyeon's vocal skill set really helps this B-side shine. As somebody who openly prefers top 40 ear butter bubblegum pop melodies, I actually don't have a lot of complaints with this track. It explores both her depth artistically and also some of the depth within R&B, a genre that sometimes gets so played a certain way, especially in K-pop, that might get lost on your average listener. Hip-hop, rap, R&B, all of these amazing genres that were created by Black people have so much depth. So I really like seeing Taeyeon really kind of explore that with this record. I love that she's showing her voice off in new ways. That's got to be very creatively fun for her to not just do the same thing over and over and over again. And you can showcase your voice with DistroKid. DistroKid is one of the leading music distributors online, helping artists like you and me get our music up on platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, TikTok, and more. For one small yearly price, you can distribute as much music as you can create without breaking the bank. When I dropped my new song, The Story I've Waited to Tell, DistroKid provided all the tools I needed to get it out there. They've got a whole library of additional features you can gain access to, with tons of helpful tools to help you promote manage, and grow your music career too, like Visi Video Generator. Visi Video Generator allows you to create short promotional videos for your music that you can use to promote your track on social media. Visi videos are reactive to your song's beat and engaging. You can choose a template that best fits your track and select which song you want to use for it. You can pick which aspect ratio you want so that it fits perfectly on each platform, add your artist name and song title, then hit generate. This is a super helpful tool that doesn't take any time at all to put together. So use my special VIP link to save yourself 7% on your first year's membership with DistroKid. Link is in the description. Again, right when you think Taeyeon's gonna fall into a big pop trope of a chorus, she pulls it back and lets R&B be the center of what she's doing. This song is a bit more commercial in sound than the last one, so I like that it follows Melt Away to give some space between it and To.X. Would I have loved a bigger sounding pop chorus? Of course I would. I'm a sucker for that. But does the fact that it doesn't have it take away from the song? I don't really think so, because the rest of the melody is strong and memorable, which is a Taeyeon staple. This song cuts out the excess and keeps the good stuff. It's definitely one of my favorites from this album for sure. Nightmare has a nice snap beat with a repeating guitar riff. Then around the 144 mark, it feeds in some new elements and more harmonies to give it some life and keep the track from getting boring. This song does stay pretty even in its energy levels, so these minor little adjustments in its productions and vocals give it that life. Nightmare is simple, hold back, and refined. So Taeyeon's vocals, which make heavy use of her breathiness and lighter atmosphere, especially towards the end, are key in getting this song right. If Burn It Down leans more comfortably on the pop side of R&B, Nightmare pulls back into the more acoustic sides of R&B. It still progresses like a pop song would, but in case you haven't noticed, Taeyeon specifically said this is an R&B record, and she wasn't lying. An overarching lyrical theme of the To.X album is leaving a relationship and exploring different scenarios as to why you'd leave that person. These songs act like letters to your ex, making To.X a perfect title. I love when Taeyeon contributes to writing her songs because it always results in beautiful moments like All for Nothing, the album's only traditional ballad. The chorus surrounding those pads is just absolutely magical and lifts a rather sad song to really highlight and draw attention to that sadness. Taeyeon does not belt here in this song that she very easily could have if done in the right way, but again, its held back tone gives off that vulnerability feeling and helps to portray the hurt that these lyrics are describing. If I had any real critique of this album, it would be that SM needs to trust Taeyeon more in her creative direction and go a little bit more out of its way to highlight it. Because every time she puts her foot down, writes a song, or has just overall creative input, the result is gorgeous every single time. So SM, get on it. Taeyeon really said we are not ending this album with a ballad, and I kind of respect her for it. I also did not expect an all English language track from her, but as a longtime Soan, that brought a huge smile to my face. Fabulous is very different from all of the tracks that precede it, but I think you can argue that when you leave a relationship, especially a not so good one like what's been described in the other songs, eventually you do gain a little bit of confidence back, and maybe that's what this song is supposed to symbolize. It is much more on the pop side of R&B, and while that may make it seem like the odd woman out, it is the last track on the album. If it had been thrown in anywhere else on this record, yeah, I'd be like, why is this here? It doesn't match. But whether or not it's a last minute addition or she genuinely did not want to end this record with a ballad, I don't think it's that bad. And I think it provides a nice little lift at the end of the record to what's kind of a sad record, especially after the ballad that is All for Nothing. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think on any major release from Taeyeon we've ever gotten an all English language track from her. So I really applaud her for trying something new, because personally, I think it's great. To.X does not contain a lot of genres and influences like other K-pop albums do, because its focus is very controlled. This is not an album made to showcase all the genres and tricks that she can do, or trying to prove that Taeyeon is this or that, but it's certainly not boring. So here's how I break it down. Its umbrella genre is going to be K-pop, as as you might expect, because that's the easy and broad label to put on it. But I'd say its subgenre is obviously R&B if that wasn't clear before. This is most certainly Taeyeon's strongest R&B record, and every track takes special care to keep R&B as the dominating structure to build off from and explore. I'd put its niche as jazz, for the sheer fact that Taeyeon's vocal styling and select instrumentation lends itself to the jazz genre. Not every song fits this so neatly, like Fabulous for example, but her overarching sound in this classical style helps refine the maturity of these productions. No doubt about it though, its micro niche is pop. Taeyeon may pull back on the top 40 elements quite significantly for this album, but they are 100% still present, just used in different ways to keep the tracks really catchy. Giving us a K-pop album with minor influences of Latin pop and hip-hop, primarily utilizing R&B productions and progressions in conjunction with jazz vocal stylings and pop elements to highlight the overarching theme of love loss while still keeping its commercial sensibilities. If you're a fan of pop R&B and you want a talented vocalist who's gonna make you feel the emotion in all of the songs, whether that's dark and sultry or lighthearted and flirty, then this album is for you. I'm so glad we finally got new music from Taeyeon because this record is great. Once again, our fearless Girls' Generation leader delivers the goods. So if you need a great K-pop R&B record, go stream Taeyeon's 5th mini album, To.X.